What up, Dokkanners? The top grossing has been dropped on JP. They have received 30 Dragon Stones and a bunch of hidden potential orbs, which begs the question, will Global be able to hold serve and match with a similar top grossing reward? And when will it happen? So let's discuss. Now, to answer the second question, when is it going to be dropping? It usually takes about 1 to 2 days for the top grossing to roll in, as shown in all of these previous instances. I highly recommend you guys read this Reddit post made by our very own Proton10MG. If you guys want more information, more extended information on all of this stuff, I highly recommend you read it. It is very well thought out and very easy to understand if you read this. Even a dummy like me could understand because of this. It's literally because of this that I'm able to make this video. So definitely check it out. Give it a good read. I will put this in the description and the pinned comment for you guys to check out. So like I said, time frame, give it a couple of days. On the 14th of September for me, 15th of September for you guys, the banner's released, which means it's going to take a little bit of time for the tabulation period to conclude. We need about 24 hours for the tabulation period to conclude, and then another day and a half or so for the stones to roll out. So around the 16th or the 17th would probably be when the Dragon Stones release. Now, this is going to just be a video based on the data and giving my best estimation, so it's not exactly precise, so don't hold me accountable if it's incorrect. But based on what we've seen, it may be looking good, it may not be looking good. So let's take a look at the data. Also, one last thing, if you guys don't remember, I've said this before, for JP to hit top grossing, they simply just have to reach #1 at any point during the day. And so apparently they've done so multiple times, which results in 30 Dragon Stones, which is why they were able to get it so fast. This is why, like, during my live stream, people were saying JP hit top grossing. That makes sense because JP doesn't need an entire day for that to occur. For Global, a region has to hit #1 by the end of the 24-hour tabulation period. So if a region is #2 all day and then the 23rd hour they make a resurgence and hit #1, that's top grossing. If they're #1 the whole day and then on the 23rd hour they drop to second, they don't get top grossing. So it's very important that regions finish #1. So let's take a look at the store here. Shout out to Proton for hooking me up with these links here on Sensor Tower. Android not looking good, so you can forget about Android giving us any sort of rewards. It's just a jungle out there. It's never a good scene for Dokkan when it comes to Android. So yeah, we're not going to be getting anything. The only #1 we see is France under Games in Action. So it's just a very specific corner of the top grossing market. That's not going to give us anything. So yeah, don't expect anything for Android. On the iOS side though, we are looking at a lot of #1s here. So this one shows some promise. So let's take a look here. Only #1 is France in all categories. So that is a little bit discouraging, but that also means that they're probably going to double dip into the games section, because if they were to give us top grossing with just 7 Dragon Stones after JP received 30, that may not reflect well, but they very well could. So I don't know. But France has hit #1 in all categories, and I can now tell you that France has already finished the tabulation period for the first day. So they have top grossing. It's done. So for about half of the world, the tabulation I think is concluded, or at least close to it, from what I've been told. So #1, France, solid. And then if we look under the games section, we have about, I think, like 9 or 10 regions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So if this were to hold serve and we were to have all of these 10 regions maintain #1 by the end of the day, that would mean 70 Dragon Stones. I don't know if they're going to do that, honestly. I really don't think they're going to go that far. That's over double what JP received, so I'm not sure, but if they do, that would be nice. Now the question is, can these guys hold on? Because on the all categories section, the US was apparently #1, but then they dropped. Luxembourg was #1, but then they also dropped. And it's funny who they lost to. Well, US lost to YouTube, which actually we can look up. So let's actually go to the US. They're #2 in all categories because YouTube overtook them in #1, which is fine. I mean, that makes sense. YouTube is kind of unstoppable. Luxembourg dropped to #2, and we all know Luxembourg, shout out, they are the MVPs, right? They dropped because of a very interesting app. So let me pull this up and show you. Dokkan dropped because of Disney Plus. Disney Plus actually made a big move and bumped Dokkan off of the #1 spot. So yeah, Luxembourg did not get #1 in all categories, but they still have #1 in the game section, so that's good. I've also been told that Macau was #1, and they dropped because of an interesting game called Ragnarok Online. I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with that game. I think it's a gacha game. I would imagine it's a gacha game. So where's Macau? There it is. Macau's also recently been doing pretty well, but yeah, Ragnarok Online took over, so they're #1. Dokkan is #2. So it all depends on how generous they're going to be with the games section. Are they going to give us all the #1s if they all maintain? or are they going to give us enough so that it looks similar to JP? If it's going to be similar to JP, we would either get multiples of 7 up to maybe 28 or perhaps 35. If they were to go all the way and give us one for every single region and all these regions maintain, then we would get 70 Dragonstones. I don't think that's going to happen. Also because this part 2, I think, has been sort of a mixed bag for people. It's been fun, it's been good for some, and it's not been that great for others, because a lot of people have been kind of sleeping on these units, which is fine, because not only do they not do the things that they necessarily wanted, but also when it comes to this part 1, part 2 Dokkan Festival shenanigans, this is the first time that we're dealing with this. So I think it's going to be a bit of an adjustment period, because everyone is so used to just blowing out all of their stones in part 1 on the Dual Dokkan Festival that part 2 is traditionally for those who really just only care about the legendary summons. Now, with a vested interest in both versions or in both parts, you kind of have to invest in both, and maybe some people just don't want to. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out, if we can keep these 10 regions. I personally don't think so. With the US having dropped, Luxembourg having dropped, I have a feeling we're going to lose a couple more. Switzerland and Germany, we don't see those guys too often. Let's see, Germany, how are they doing? Germany is, yeah, so top grossing is 4th, but then for games, if we go to just games, they are number 1. Yeah, Germany's number 1. And then if we go to what was the other region? Switzerland. Okay, let's take a look at Switzerland. Switzerland down here. Switzerland for games, they are number 1, but then if we look at all categories, they are not. So we just got to pray that they can all hold on for just a few more hours. Once we hit the 24-hour tabulation period, the data will be in, and then all it is just a matter of the stones being rolled out. So in a summary, I'm going to say we're probably going to be earning maybe between like 30 and 40 stones. Don't hold me accountable. This is just my best guess, and it's going to happen in about 2 days. So on the 17th-ish, we should get top grossing. There you have it, folks. Guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like down below. Let me know in the comments, what do you think about the landscape of top grossing for this time around? Do you think in your gut that we're going to be getting similar top grossing rewards to part 1, or do you think that this is going to be tapering off a little bit more and we're going to be getting a little bit less for part 2, given how this is the first time we are dealing with double parts where we have to really, invest in the banners? Let me know in the comments down below. Also, be sure to subscribe for more dope content in the future, and click the notification bell so that you let you know when to see more of my stuff. Do it. Thanks again. Stay tuned, and remember to Dokkan responsibly.